Welcome back to the shop. No, there's nothing wrong with your video because the lights are off. So I just unlocked the car. You can see the interior lights have come on, and again, they're not all connected, but those are just the console lights, and of course the fog lights, and they're going to stay on for 30 seconds. And let me show you how I did all of this. Well, power is back on the vehicle. So none of the fuses are in the fuse box, so the only thing that's going to work are the parking lights, the marker lights, the headlights, and the brake lights. Everything else is a fused item on the car, and since there are no fuses in the fuse box, nothing else is activated. But you have to do this very slowly, because as I'm introducing more and more of the circuits, I have to make sure that the circuits are no shorts in them or anything. But let's turn the headlights on in one click. Marker lights came on, as you can see on the front left. Now that marker light is on, the parking lights are also on, and the marker light on the other side is on. At the same time in the back, what we have is we have the tail lights are on. Now the tail lights are obviously a little dull. You might not be able to see them. Maybe you can see them in the reflection here on me. But the tail lights are on. Also, the license plate light is on as well. So all of that has been good. The dash lights are on. I had switched over to the LEDs, so let me show you that. As you can see, they're a lot brighter. You can see the brightness of the dash. This is the LED kit, and they are dimmable, so they do dim, and they do get brighter. So like I said, they are not much. I mean, LEDs don't have the same range as regular bulbs do, but you can dim them down, so that works well. Now you can see my tachometer. That was something that I had added. So like I said, we have a tach in the middle where the clock used to be. I didn't have a clock in this car, so it was an empty space, so I put that in. So let's do one final test. Let's reach and let's pull on the headlights. So of course they're not aimed, but the headlights are on the vehicle. Okay, so what are the next steps? Adding fuse by fuse by fuse to the fuse box. Right now I've got the 6 circuits that are for constant power, 6 circuits that are for switched power. None of them have fuses in them, so I have to put each one in. And the key is now I can be able to test each circuit as I'm adding a fuse to it, make sure it's running and make sure it does everything I need it to do. You'll probably notice that the mirror, I've just got it taped up to the top of the windshield, but it is a dash cam mirror, so it has a camera pointing forward. There's a camera in the back, so it's going to record both directions at the same time. When I put the car in reverse, it'll activate the rear camera, which means the rear camera will then fire an LCD panel, which is behind the mirror. So half of the mirror will then be an LCD, which is going to show me a backup camera. The other half of the mirror is, well, it's a mirror, so it's still going to show me what a mirror does. So it's the best of both worlds. I'll be able to see that. So like I said, the next steps now is just adding one fuse at a time, making sure that that circuit's good, making sure that there's no problems, because you don't want to throw all the fuses in and then something goes wrong, right? So let's get at it. Well, it's going to be hard to see because I can tell the camera's having problems with LEDs, but as you can see, the right side signal is on. I used a variable blinker, which allows me to adjust the timing, so I like this timing. They're flickering, but that's because of the camera, not because of the lights. The lights are on solid. So you can see I've got the headlights on, which means obviously on the left side here, on the driver's side, that is just driving lights at night. And on the right, that is the right-hand turn signal going. So as I said, one fuse at a time. Okay, we're almost through all of the wiring. A little bit more to do still, but there's always more to do. The backup mirror, or the mirror, again, as I said, it's a normal mirror. Now it has a protective film on it, so if you see my hand's reflection a little fuzzy, that's because the protective film is on it. But it's a regular mirror, and you can see through it. But the trigger for the backup camera is now hooked up to the license plate light. Now the reason it's hooked up to the license plate light is because if I hook it up to the reverse lights, I got to throw it in reverse, and I don't have the shifter on yet, so I can't even throw it in reverse. But what I can do is turn the headlights on, which will then turn on the tail light, and of course the license plate light, which will then activate the trigger, and therefore the LCD panel comes on, and there's my backup camera. and that comes on through the lens or through the one-way mirror so that I can see it when you're backing up, and then of course when you take it out of reverse, it turns off, turns back to a normal mirror. This is also a high definition recording device. So it's got a camera on the front of the mirror. It's got a camera obviously on the license plate, and it's going to record the video of the car, and any interactions I have with it are going to be recorded. It also has a shock sensor, which means if I'm not near the car and somebody bumps into the car or knocks the car, the camera starts and it will record all of the events. So if somebody backs into the car or somebody tries to drive away, I hopefully will get a license plate. But basically, that's the camera I bought. Like I said, if you're interested in it, let me know, and I'll give you all of the information on it. Okay, so we're in the car. So I turn the key on. You're going to hear the doors locking. And of course, then the rear view mirror has this real nutty sound come on it. But to be honest with you, I'm going to have to figure out how to turn that speaker off. So when I turn the key on, the doors lock, which is a safety feature. You can always just unlock the door by simply opening the door handle. So you can always get out, but at least the doors are locked. The other thing you notice is the fog lights are on. Now the fogs are going to stay on every time the key is on. Those are my daytime running lights. So I'm going to always have the fogs on, except at night when I turn the headlights on. When I pull the headlight switch on, a relay is going to simply shut the power down to the fog lights, and therefore the fogs will turn off at night when the headlights are on. But of course, I still have the ability to pull the fog light switch, and the fog light switch, of course, then will turn the fog lights back on. And that way there I could, if I wanted to, then have the headlights and fog lights on in case I'm going down some dark road where I need every piece of illumination I can. But as I said, it's coming together. The electrical's working. You already saw the taillights are working. All the lights are working. The marker lights everything's on. The only thing I haven't powered up, of course, are the power windows, because I've still got to put all that together, but that'll be another video. But basically, we're electrically sound. We're ready to go. And other than, like I said, a few fuses on the seats. I haven't put the fuse in for the seats because the seats are not in. And I didn't put the fuse in for the roof because the roof isn't hooked up. So, of course, I'm making sure that those circuits are dead. But other than that, ready to go. Well, that's the last fuse. So, head unit is running. This way here now, what it's going to allow me to do is, obviously I'm just testing the center stage speaker. That's just the one speaker running. I don't have the kick panels running. I don't have the subwoofer running. I'm gonna do all of that later. But basically that's it. The system's installed, all the wiring is done. So now what do I need to do? So I'm gonna go up underneath the dash and I'm gonna clean the wiring up. Obviously I was just running it all over the place to make sure everything works, but now I'm gonna route it. So I'm gonna have the wires all bundled. I'm gonna use zip ties temporarily because there's always gonna be another wire you're gonna run. So don't clean it all up and zip it all up and then realize you have another trigger wire that has got to run. So I'm going to do that. So that's today's task. At the same time then, I'm thinking once I'm done underneath the dashboard, the car is going to pretty well be ready to start. So that's going to probably be a task I'm going to do. But as I mentioned, the weather is not the greatest over the next couple of days up here. So I'm probably going to wait until Saturday because it's going to be a nice sunny day and it's going to be warm. I'm going to roll the car out into the driveway and I'm going to start it out there. So what am I going to do for the next 2 or 3 days? Well, I'm going to probably start tackling the doors. I need to put the window mechanisms back in and of course the power mechanisms back in. So I need to do that. So I might be tackling the doors. But a nice thing you might notice is that 1-inch lowering kit. You can see those tires are starting to tuck nicely under the fenders. Now the car is not under load, there's no fuel in the gas tank, so this will even drop a little bit more. The front, although the engine is in, the front is not as low as I would like it, but again, I'm not going to pass judgment until this car is on the ground, and that way there I can really make sure. So if you're after any detail, in the previous videos I built that delay box, so you can see how I built the delay box. Obviously underneath the dashboard there's a couple of relays, and those relays are designed that when, again as I said, when I turn the headlights on, the relay will go to a normally open position, which means it turns off the power to the fog lights, but I still have the ability to override that with the fog light switch, which is nothing more than a direct wire to the fog lights. So the idea is there are a number of electronics in this car, the alarm systems in this car, the door locks are in this car, so there's a number of things I still have to do. But like I said, over the next couple of days, I think I'm going to turn my attention to these doors. So I hope you enjoyed that, a little bit of a catch-up. As I said, if you have any questions on what I used or what the parts were, send me a note. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And until next time, I'll see you from the shop.